Everyone in the neighborhood thought Shazia was a kind woman. She smiled in front of others, spoke softly, and acted like a loving stepmother. But behind the closed doors of her house, the truth was something else, something dark and painful. Ryan, an 8-year-old boy, lived in that house. His big eyes had lost their shine. He barely spoke, and his smile had disappeared long ago. After his father's death, everything in his life changed. His stepmother, Shazia, had taken full control of the house, the money, and most importantly, Rayhan's life. Rayhan's real mother had died when he was just 4. His father had remarried thinking Shazia would care for his only child. But he was wrong. After his sudden death, Shazia began to show her true face. She treated Rayhan like a servant, often yelling at him, making him sleep on the floor, and giving him the worst food in the house. Every day, while other kids had warm meals and soft beds, Rayhan had to eat cold leftovers from dirty plates. Sometimes the food was so bad that even stray animals wouldn't touch it. But Rayhan never complained. He was scared. He knew if he spoke up, Shazia would punish him worse. One rainy afternoon, a man named Mr. Arif visited the neighborhood. He was a millionaire and known for his kindness. He often helped poor families and donated to schools and hospitals. This time, he had come to check a small shelter nearby that he was planning to rebuild. As Mr. Arif walked past Rayhan's house, he noticed something strange. A little boy, sitting outside in the rain, holding a dirty steel plate with burnt rice and some spoiled vegetables. His clothes were wet and his lips were shaking, but he wasn't crying. He just stared at the food, trying to eat it quietly. Mr. Arif stopped walking. His eyes narrowed. Something about the scene touched him deeply. The way the boy sat. The way he held the plate. The sadness in his eyes, it was all too much. He slowly walked closer. "Beta, what's your name?" he asked softly. Rayhan looked up, surprised. He hadn't seen kindness in a long time. "Rayhan," he whispered. "Where are your parents?" Mr. Arif asked. "My father, he went to Allah, and my mother." Rayhan paused. She also went. Mr. Arif felt a sharp pain in his heart. Before he could ask more, the front door opened. Shazia stepped out with her usual fake smile. "Oh, hello, sir," she said sweetly. "He's my stepson. He just likes to sit outside sometimes. He's shy, that's all." Mr. Arif looked at her carefully. Her words didn't match the situation. "Is that his lunch?" he asked, pointing at the plate. "Yes, he's a fussy eater," Shazia lied. "No matter what I cook, he always complains." Mr. Arif didn't believe her. He knelt beside Rayhan and gently touched his shoulder. "It's okay. You can tell me if something is wrong." But Rayhan quickly looked at his stepmother. Fear filled his eyes. He shook his head silently and whispered, "No, I'm okay." Mr. Arif stood up slowly. He gave Shazia a long look before saying, "Sometimes what we see on the outside is not the full story." Shazia's smile froze. Mr. Arif gave his card to her. "If you ever need help, call me." He looked back at Rayhan one last time before walking away. The rain had started to fall harder, but Mr. Arif didn't care. His mind was full of questions and concern. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the boy, the dirty plate, the bruises on his arms, and the fear in his eyes. Something was not right in that house. Mr. Arif called his assistant Kamran. "I need you to find out everything about a boy named Rayhan and his stepmother Shazia. Quickly." Kamran, who had worked with Mr. Arif for years, understood. "I'll look into it right away, sir." Meanwhile, in the small house, Rayhan sat quietly in his cold room. His stomach hurt, but he didn't cry. He looked out of the window at the dark sky and whispered, "Papa, where are you? I miss you." He didn't know that somewhere out there, someone had seen his pain, someone who cared. And soon, everything in his life was about to change. But before that change came, an unexpected war had already started. Between truth and lies, kindness and cruelty, and between a helpless boy and a powerful stranger who had silently become his guardian angel. Mr. Arif sat in his office the next morning, but his mind was far from his work. Papers lay untouched on the table. His phone buzzed several times, but he didn't answer. The only thing he could think about was that little boy, Rayan. There was something about the way Rayan had looked at him, something that made Mr. Arif feel restless. That broken look in his eyes, the fear on his face, and the dirty plate filled with tasteless food. None of it seemed normal. His assistant Kamran walked in with a file in his hands. "Sir, I found some information about the boy," Kamran said as he sat down. Mr. Arif straightened up, eager to listen. Kamran continued. "Rayan is 8 years old. His real mother died when he was very young. His father, Imran, remarried a woman named Shazia 2 years later. Imran passed away last year in an accident. Since then, the boy has been living with his stepmother." Mr. Arif took a deep breath. "Does he have any other relatives?" Kamran shook his head. "No close family, sir, and there's something else." He opened the file and showed a document. After Imran's death, Shazia took full control of his property and bank accounts. There was a small trust fund meant for Rayan's education, but there's no record of it being used. Mr. Arif clenched his jaw. "So she took everything and left the boy with nothing." Kamran nodded. "It seems that way, sir." Mr. Arif stood up and walked to the window. Rain had started again. The city looked quiet, but he knew storms were hiding behind these buildings, and one of them was inside that little boy's home. "Want to visit them again?" he said finally. This time, without warning. That evening, Mr. Arif drove himself to the neighborhood. He wore a simple coat and avoided his usual security team. He wanted to see the truth with his own eyes. As he walked near the small house, he noticed the lights were on. He heard a woman's loud voice shouting from inside. "You useless boy! You made me look bad in front of that rich man. Do you think you're special now?" Shazia screamed. There was the sound of something breaking, maybe a plate, maybe a cup, and then silence. Mr. Arif's hands turned into fists. He stepped back into the shadows, his heart burning with anger. A few minutes later, the door opened. Shazia walked out with a phone in her hand, laughing loudly and pretending to talk sweetly. Her face was full of makeup again. She was acting, just like before. Mr. Arif waited for her to walk away before moving toward the house. The front door was unlocked. Slowly, carefully, he pushed it open and stepped inside. He found Rayan sitting in a corner of the kitchen. His plate was empty, but not because he had eaten. It was because there had been nothing on it. "Rayan," Mr. Arif said softly. The boy looked up, shocked to see him. His eyes filled with tears, but he didn't cry. "I came back because I wanted to see you," Mr. Arif said, kneeling beside him. "Are you okay?" Rayan didn't speak. Mr. Arif gently touched his shoulder. "You can trust me. I won't let anyone hurt you." Rayan looked down and whispered, "She hits me when no one's watching, and she gives me food from the trash." Mr. Arif felt something sharp in his chest. No child deserved this. "I'm going to take care of you," he promised. Just then, they heard footsteps outside. "Go back to your room," Mr. Arif said quickly. "I'll handle it." Rayan nodded and quietly went to the back. Shazia walked in moments later, shocked to see Mr. Arif standing in her house. "Oh, sir, you scared me. What brings you here at this hour?" she asked with fake surprise. Mr. Arif looked at her with calm anger. "I wanted to see how Rayan was doing, and I'm not happy with what I've seen." Shazia's smile faded a little. "I told you he's a difficult child." "Really?" Mr. Arif asked. "Or is it you who has made his life difficult?" There was a long silence. Then, Mr. Arif handed her a paper. "This is a notice. From tomorrow, Rayan will be placed under observation. If any more signs of abuse are found, you could face serious charges." Shazia's eyes widened. She tried to act innocent. "What are you saying, sir? I love that boy." Mr. Arif looked her straight in the eyes. "I've seen enough to know that's a lie." He walked out of the house, leaving her standing there, speechless. As he sat in his car, he whispered to himself, "This war has begun, and I won't let that child suffer anymore." The next morning, Rayan sat on the edge of his bed, his small hands tightly gripping the blanket. His eyes were swollen from crying all night, but he had no more tears left. The warning Mr. Arif gave to Shazia was like a tiny light in his dark life, but he still didn't trust hope. Not yet. Downstairs, Shazia was fuming. She walked around the house angrily, talking to herself. How dare that man come into my house and threaten me? That little boy is ruining everything. She picked up the phone and called someone. Hello, I need you to do something for me. It's about the child. Meanwhile, Mr. Arif had arranged a meeting with a child welfare officer named Ms. Huma. She was a kind-hearted woman who had worked on many abuse cases before. He showed her the pictures Kamran secretly took of Rayhan's bruises, the dirty plate, and the environment he lived in. This is heartbreaking, Ms. Huma said, shaking her head. No child should live like this. Mr. Arif leaned forward. Can we remove him from that house? Ms. Huma nodded. First, we'll need to do a surprise home check. If the conditions are as you say, we'll take him into protective care. Immediately, Mr. Arif agreed. The plan was set for the next morning. But back at the house, something unexpected was happening. That evening, Rayhan found an old wooden box in the storeroom. It was hidden under a broken chair. He opened it carefully and found old photos, letters, and papers, things that belonged to his real father. Among them was a small envelope with his name written on it. He opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a letter written by his father just before he died. Dear Rayhan, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer with you. I want you to know I love you more than anything. I know Shazia is not your real mother, and I worry what will happen to you if I'm gone. That is why I created a trust in your name. It will keep you safe. I've given the details to my lawyer, Mr. Qureshi. Never forget who you are, my son. One day, someone kind will come and help you. Don't be afraid to trust them. Rayhan read the letter again and again. His heart was pounding. So, his father had known, and he had tried to protect him. He quickly hid the letter in his pocket, afraid Shazia might find it. Late that night, when Shazia came to check on him, she noticed a strange calmness on Rayhan's face. What are you hiding? She snapped, stepping closer. Nothing, Rayhan whispered, looking away. She narrowed her eyes but didn't press further. Instead, she gave him a warning. Tomorrow, someone may come to ask questions. If you say one wrong thing, you'll regret it. Rayhan didn't reply. But inside, something had changed. He wasn't the same scared little boy anymore. The next morning, the doorbell rang. Shazia opened the door and found Ms. Huma standing with two assistants. Mr. Arif was standing quietly beside them. Good morning, said Ms. Huma. We're from the Child Welfare Department. We're here for a routine check. Shazia faked a smile. Oh, sure, please come in. Rayhan is upstairs. Rayhan was called down. He looked nervous but calm. Hello, Rayhan, said Ms. Huma gently. Can we talk to you for a few minutes? Rayhan nodded. Shazia interrupted. He's shy, he doesn't talk much. We'd like to talk to him privately, Ms. Huma said firmly. Shazia stepped back, her face turning pale. In the next room, Rayhan sat with the officers. He was quiet at first, but then he slowly pulled out the letter from his pocket and placed it on the table. This is from my father, he whispered. He knew everything. The officers read the letter carefully. Their faces turned serious. Mr. Arif looked at the boy with pride. He had shown great courage. Outside, Shazia was pacing nervously. Suddenly, the door opened. Ms. Huma stepped out with a cold expression. Ms. Shazia, based on what we've found, Rayhan will be taken into protective care immediately. Any interference from you will be considered a crime. Shazia's mouth fell open. What? You can't do this. He's my responsibility. No, Mr. Arif said, stepping forward. You lost that right the day you started treating him like trash. As Rayhan came out of the house holding a small bag of clothes, he looked at the place one last time. The walls that once trapped him were now behind him. He got into the car with Mr. Arif and Ms. Huma. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew he was safe now, and deep inside, for the first time in years, he smiled. Rayhan sat in the back seat of Mr. Arif's car, looking out the window as the city passed by. For the first time in a long while, he felt like he could breathe freely. The air outside smelled like hope, but deep in his heart, he still had one fear. What if this kindness was just another trap? Mr. Arif glanced at him through the mirror and smiled. "You're safe now, Rayan. You don't need to worry anymore." Rayan gave a small nod but didn't say anything. He had learned not to trust words easily. After a short drive, they reached a beautiful, quiet house at the edge of the city. It wasn't too big like Shazia's house, but it looked warm and full of peace. A woman opened the door. She looked kind, with gentle eyes and a motherly smile. "This is my wife, Mrs. Arif," said Mr. Arif. "She's been waiting to meet you." Mrs. Arif came closer and bent down. "Welcome home, Rayan." Home. That word felt so strange to him. He wanted to believe it, but the fear still sat inside his chest. Inside the house, everything was new to Rayan, not because it was fancy, but because it was clean, calm, and filled with love. There was a small room prepared just for him, a bed with soft blankets, toys placed on a shelf, and a small night lamp glowing beside it. He stood at the door, frozen. No one had ever done anything like this for him before. "Do you like it?" Mrs. Arif asked gently. Rayan nodded, his eyes wet. "Yes, thank you." That night he couldn't sleep. He kept waking up and checking the door, scared that Shazia would suddenly walk in and pull him back. But the only sound he heard was the soft ticking of a clock. No shouting, no slamming doors, just peace. The next morning, Mr. Arif took him to meet a lawyer, Mr. Qureshi, the same person mentioned in his father's letter. "Young man," said Mr. Qureshi kindly, "your father left a trust fund in your name. He didn't want anyone else to know, but he always hoped someone honest would help you find this one day." He handed Rayan a few papers. "With this, no one can hurt you again, and legally Shazia has no right over you now." Rayan stared at the papers, confused. "But what will happen to me now? Where will I live?" Mr. Arif put a hand on his shoulder. "If you want, you can stay with us. We don't have any children, but only if you feel safe." Rayan looked up at him. He didn't say yes right away, but his eyes had tears, and in that moment, Mr. Arif knew what his answer was. Just when now, things started feeling better, a shadow returned. 3 days later, while Rayan was playing in the garden, a police car pulled up outside Mr. Arif's house. Rayan froze. His heart began to race. "Are they here to take me back?" he asked Mr. Arif in a panicked voice. Mr. Arif walked out calmly and greeted the officers. "Is everything all right?" One of the officers spoke seriously. "We have received a complaint from Shazia. She says the child was kidnapped from her house." Rayan's face turned pale. "She's lying," Mr. Arif replied calmly. "We have the documents from the Child Welfare Office, and we've already filed for custody." But the officer didn't look convinced. "Still, we are ordered to bring the child to the station for questioning." Mrs. Arif quickly came outside and hugged Rayan. "No, he just started to feel safe here." Mr. Arif remained calm. "Then let's go. We'll answer all the questions. We have nothing to hide." At the police station, Rayan sat in front of an officer. His hands trembled. "She never gave me food," he said. "She made me eat from a dirty plate like I was nothing." The officer frowned. "Do you have proof?" Rayan took out his father's letter again. "My dad knew this would happen. He wrote everything in this letter." Just then, Ms. Huma from Child Welfare entered the room with the trust documents and photos from their earlier visit. She looked at the officer firmly. "This child is under our protection. And the woman who called you? She's the real criminal." The officer nodded slowly. "Understood. We'll close the complaint. The boy goes home with Mr. Arif." As they left the station, Rayan felt the biggest weight lift from his shoulders. For the first time, someone had fought for him, and won. Rayan had finally found peace in Mr. and Mrs. Arif's home. Days passed quietly. He began to smile more, eat properly, and even sleep peacefully at night. But sometimes, while looking at the stars through the window, a strange feeling still stayed in his heart. Something was missing, or unknown. One afternoon, Mr. Arif sat beside Rayan with a small old box. "I found this in the files Mr. Qureshi gave me," he said softly. "It belonged to your father. Do you want to see what's inside? Ryan nodded. Inside the box were photographs, a small diary, and one golden chain with a locket. Rayan touched the locket gently. He opened it, and inside was a photo. A woman holding a baby. That's your mother, Mr. Arif whispered. Rayan's heart skipped a beat. She died when I was very small, right? Yes, Mr. Arif replied. But there's something in this diary your father wrote. Something I think you should know. Mr. Arif began reading the diary to Rayan. It was simple, honest writing, filled with love, pain, and hidden secrets. One page made Rayan sit up straight. If anything happens to me, Rayan must know the truth. Shazia was never meant to raise him. I only married her to protect Rayan from a danger linked to my past. Rayan looked up in confusion. What danger? Mr. Arif didn't answer immediately. He flipped through more pages, then paused on one that had been folded tightly. On it was a name, Zafar Baig. Who's this? Rayan asked. Mr. Arif sighed deeply. That's the man your father feared. Your father once worked for him. Zafar was a cruel, dangerous man. He destroyed many lives with his dirty business. When, your father refused to work with him, he threatened to hurt your family. Rayan's eyes widened. Did Zafar kill my father? Mr. Arif didn't know the answer, but he saw the pain in Rayan's face and gently placed a hand on his shoulder. Your father wanted to protect you. That's why he wrote this diary. Maybe he was trying to hide you from Zafar all along. The next morning, Mr. Arif visited the city police department quietly without telling Rayan. He met with a senior officer and showed him the diary. The officer raised his eyebrows after reading a few pages. Zafar Baig? That man vanished years ago. We never caught him, but many believe he still controls illegal businesses from the shadows. Mr. Arif's face turned serious. If he finds out Rayan is alive and knows this much, he may come after him. The officer nodded. We'll increase security near your home, and we'll quietly begin looking into this case again. Back at home, Rayan sensed something was wrong. Is something going to happen? He asked Mrs. Arif while helping her fold laundry. She smiled gently, trying to hide the tension. No, dear. Everything is all right. Just focus on being happy. But that night, while everyone was asleep, someone stood outside their gate, watching silently. A black car was parked nearby, engine off, headlights off. Inside sat a man with sharp eyes, a scar on his neck, and a photo of Rayan in his hand. He whispered to himself. So, the boy survived. The next morning, Rayan found an envelope near the front door. No one had seen who placed it there. He opened it slowly with trembling hands. Inside was a single piece of paper with words written in bold red ink. You know too much. Stay quiet or disappear like your father. His hands shook. Fear returned, like a storm. Mr. Arif took the letter and called the police immediately. But it was too late. Someone had already broken into Mr. Qureshi's office the night before. His files on Rayan's case were gone. Everything was getting darker again. As the episode ended, Rayan sat silently in his room, holding his father's locket, staring out the window. He whispered, Papa, did you die because of Zafar? Is he still out there? Mr. Arif stood outside, the room listening. His eyes were filled with worry because now he knew this was no longer just about kindness or adoption. It had become a war against a powerful enemy from the past. And Rayan, the once broken boy with dirty plates, now held a truth that could destroy a dangerous man. But the question remained, would he survive long enough to do it? Rayan sat near the window, holding his father's diary close to his chest. The warning letter still haunted his thoughts. The words, "You know too much," played in his mind again and again. He had finally found love and safety in Mr. and Mrs. Arif's home. But now, that peace was breaking. That evening, Mr. Arif came into Rayan's room and sat beside him. "There's something you need to hear," he said quietly. Rayan turned to him with worried eyes. Mr. Arif handed him a small USB drive. Mr. Qureshi gave this to me before he died. He said your father recorded something important in it, but he didn't want anyone else to see it, except you. They inserted the USB into Mr. Arif's laptop. The screen turned black for a moment. Then a video started playing. It was Rayan's father. He looked tired, older than Rayan remembered from the photo in the locket, but his voice was soft, full of love. Rayan, my son, if you're watching this, it means I didn't survive. I'm sorry. I wanted to be there for your first walk, your first school day, every birthday, but I had to keep you safe. Zafar Baig. He is the reason for all this pain. I worked for him once. I helped him move money, lie to people, destroy lives. When I found out what he was doing to children, I refused to continue. That's when he came after me. I married Shazia not out of love, but because she was Zafar's cousin. I thought she could protect you if something happened to me, but I was wrong. She turned out to be even more cruel than him. Rayan, you must stay strong. If Zafar finds you, don't run, don't hide. Tell the world what he did. There are still people out there who will believe you. I love you, my son. The video ended. Tears rolled down Rayan's face. He now understood everything. His father hadn't abandoned him. He had died protecting him. That night, Mr. Arif called the police again. This is bigger than we thought, he said to the officer. We have proof now. The boy's father knew Zafar's secrets. The officer nodded. But that means Zafar will try to silence the boy. We need to protect him tonight. Police vehicles began patrolling near the house, but the danger was already inside the walls. At midnight, Rayan was in bed, but he couldn't sleep. He heard something, a faint click. He got up slowly and walked towards the kitchen. The back door was open. Rayan's heart raced. Suddenly, he heard whispers outside. 2 men dressed in black were standing near the fence. We take the boy tonight. No noise. Boss wants him gone before sunrise, one of them said. Rayan froze. They were here for him. He ran upstairs and woke Mr. and Mrs. Arif. They're outside. 2 men. They're here for me. Mr. Arif didn't waste a second. He called the police while Mrs. Arif held Rayan tightly, but before help could arrive, the power went out. Darkness covered the whole house. Mr. Arif grabbed a flashlight and locked the bedroom door. We stay together. Don't panic, he whispered. Downstairs they heard glass breaking, footsteps, the sound of drawers opening, as if someone was searching. Then, silence. Mr. Arif held Rayan close, whispering, Don't be scared. You are not alone anymore. Suddenly, someone banged on the bedroom door. Open up. We just want the boy. Do it now and no one gets hurt. Rayan's heart pounded, but then a loud siren filled the air. The police had arrived. Red and blue lights flashed through the window. The men tried to escape through the back, but officers were already surrounding the house. A fight broke out. One man was caught. The other escaped into the dark. The next morning, the house was filled with tension. The man who was caught didn't speak at first, but after hours of questioning, he finally broke. I work for Zafar, he said. He's still in the country, running everything from the shadows. He heard the boy had his secrets. He wants him gone. The officer turned to Mr. Arif. We need to move the boy. He's not safe here. Rayan stood silently, holding his father's diary. He looked up and said something that surprised everyone. No, I don't want to run anymore. Mr. Arif looked shocked. But Rayan, I have to fight. My father tried to stop him. Now it's my turn. As the episode ends, Rayan walks into the police station with his father's video and diary in hand. He sits in front of the camera and speaks clearly. My name is Rayan. My father died trying to stop a man named Zafar Baig, and now I will finish what he started. The officers, shocked and impressed, begin preparations, because now this was more than a rescue story. It had become a mission for justice, and the final chapter was just beginning. The city was awake earlier than usual. News channels were buzzing with a new headline. Young boy steps forward with proof against dangerous millionaire Zafar Baig. Ryan, once a quiet and broken boy, was now the center of attention. Sitting beside Mr. Arif and two officers, he looked calm, but his heart beat like a drum. The media was watching. The police were preparing for a raid, and Zafar Baig was still out there. The final chapter was about to begin. The police decided to hold a press conference to reveal everything. Ryan's father's video, the warning, letters, the statement from the captured man. Everything would be made public. Zafar had powerful contacts and enough money to silence many. But this time, his secret had reached too far. Meanwhile, Ryan was taken to a secret safe house for protection. But Ryan couldn't rest. Every time he closed his eyes, he remembered the dirty plate his stepmother had forced him to eat from. The night he stood alone in the rain, the warm food from Mr. Arif's table, and now the danger that still followed him. That night, something happened. A note slipped under the door of the safe house. It had only 5 words. Tonight, your silence or death. The handwriting, it was Zafar's. The police were alerted immediately. Security was tightened. Officers surrounded the house, but Ryan had already made a decision. I won't hide, he told Mr. Arif. He already took my father from me. He won't take my voice. The next day, Ryan stood in front of a packed hall. Cameras flashed. Reporters whispered. Officers stood guard. Mr. Arif held Ryan's hand tightly as he stepped up to the mic. Everyone went quiet. Ryan took a deep breath and began. My name is Ryan. I'm 8 years old. My father's name was Noman. He worked for Zafar Baig once, but when he found out the truth, he tried to stop him. Zafar did many bad things. He lied, stole, and hurt people, even children. My father died because he wanted to expose him, and I almost died too. But someone helped me. A kind man named Mr. Arif. He then held up the locket around his neck. This belonged to my father, and this diary, he held up the worn pages, has everything written in it. I'm not afraid anymore. There was silence in the room, and then claps from one side and then the other. Soon the entire hall was on its feet. The police chief stepped forward. We have enough evidence now. We're issuing a warrant for Zafar Baig's arrest. But what no one knew was Zafar was already watching this. Live. Zafar, hidden in a mansion far from the city, watched the news with a bitter smile. So the boy has courage, he whispered. But let's see how long it lasts. He picked up his phone. Prepare the plane, we leave tonight. But before he could make another move, there was a loud knock at his door. Then it burst open. Police. Dozens of them. Zafar tried to run. But it was too late. They grabbed him, handcuffed him, and dragged him away. As he passed by the mirror, he looked at his own reflection. Old, angry, and finally defeated. Back in the city, Ryan was taken to the police station where he watched. Zafar's arrest live on TV. He didn't smile. He just closed his eye and whispered, Dad, we did it. Mr. Arif knelt beside.